All right, we are live. Hey, Amy.
Hey, Michael, how are you?
I am good. How are you?
Doing well. It's great to see you.
Absolutely, it's the take too. And hello, everyone who is joining us and watching us live. Amy and I, we were for a long time very excited about this online event, right, Amy? Because we've collected a lot of interesting insights and data, and we never had time to dive into that data, both of us, and just debug it live and just break it down and share some stories. And now we have this opportunity, so we were looking forward to spending hour ish, both of us, and then with the people live, having like an open discussion and just diving into numbers and talking revenue, talking AI, talking growth, right?
Absolutely right. Yeah, I'm so excited because this is such a hot topic for every single business
Yeah.
in every single industry. And we've collected data from 200 senior leaders who are in the middle of it, understanding how AI is being used, how it should be used, what people are thinking about. So the opportunity to dive in with you, Michael, is really awesome for me today. Thank you so much.
Absolutely, it's my pleasure. All right, so for those folks that are running a little bit late, we're gonna give you guys a few more minutes to join in. Get some water, coffee, tea, and to listen us up. Because this is the first time me and Amy are doing this event together. I know there are people from both sides, both that follow Amy and her work, and the first time, learning about me and what I do. And then there are a lot of folks from my side who is the first time seeing me doing event with Amy. If you guys didn't watch, but Amy and I, we had amazing podcast that we've done. It was like, I think 6-12 months ago, right? I think we had like 20,000 views on YouTube. You and I, it's like,
We did. It was magical. That was amazing.
yeah.
I don't
So
think I've ever had that many views before, Michael. So you're the magic.
I know it was great talk. It was just great,
That's right.
and you were amazing sharing all the stories. And we obviously talk marketing a lot. And today's a little bit different topic. So, for those who've never met me or Amy, here's a little bit of a bio intro on the screen. Um, Amy, like, how would you introduce yourself? Like, what's the how do you usually you go by a co-founder, CMO, doctor of communication? Like, how do you usually?
Well, thank you. Yes, I am the co-founder and CMO of Fullcast, and we are the go-to-market platform from plan to pay. So plan everything from annual planning, territories, quotas, routing, to forecasting, to commissions payments. We stay pretty solidly on the go-to-market side, and obviously work with really amazing people like you, Michael, on the prospecting side. And one of the things that I've been so impressed with is, as I've gotten to know you, how adept you are in not only what has worked in this past 10 years, but also what's working today. And right now, your knowledge, in my opinion, is really at a premium as companies are trying to learn how to pivot
Yeah,
to prospect in the right ways.
yeah. And I think what I really love the fact that both your organization and my team were trying to do a lot for the industry in terms of trying to use our brands to connect with revenue leaders, with our clients, people that we know in the industry, and
Mm-hmm.
get their few cents and their peace of mind around like what's happening, how they're using two things. And for those folks that for the first time seeing this, but Amy and I, we've spoken to over 200 B2B revenue leaders last like 4 months. And these are the 8 things we've asked them, right? We've asked them about how they're adopting AI. We asked them about the ROI. We've asked them about building and buying decisions. And I think this is something that a lot of the business owners are struggling right now. Like, why do I need to buy a software if I can build one? So the pros and cons of both, right? And obviously a lot of things on the RevOps side, on the operations side, who owns the procurement of those things. So I think we are very fortunate to be able to access these people, understand where they are, and then collect this into a more comprehensive, digestible piece of information that we're going to share today as well, and talk about it as well. Because I'm very curious to know, what's happening on the Fullcast side with all of these numbers, and where Belkins falls under as well.
That's right. I cannot wait. For us, my main interest this past month has been how companies are building and buying and both. So we have a lot of really interesting perspective on that.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Folks, so this is agenda for today. Am and I, we discussed that we will try to do it within an hour. However, we blocked more time in our calendars to stay a little bit longer, hour 15 or something, where we can have a more deeper live QA session. The way I do events, if you already been part of the Belkins events before, I love to bring on questions on the screen as we go and answer those questions. So if we're going to be discussing certain numbers or doing a live poll or doing any engagement, feel free to just drop a question in the chat, get a comment, give your peace of mind, and we'll be able to discuss that and then move on. But still, at the end, we're going to have a full live session in case people wanted to stay a bit longer. We can also stay a bit longer and we can discuss that. But we're going to try to, push that within within 60 minutes, right? So
perfect.
Yeah.
And if you want to drop any questions in during the discussion, I think that's always very interesting, and it helps us keep the discussion going.
Yeah, it's a discussion, right? Like, it's not a we are sharing slides and we're talking over the slides, right? Like, hey, we're bringing the number and we're discussing what that number means and what it signifies, right? At the end of this, there are two studies that we've done. One study from Fullcast on AI and GDM and the readiness, and one from the outreach and acquisition standpoint on the Belkin side. Both will be available to download at the end. I'm going to bring on the QR code, so get your mobile phones ready in case you wanted to scan it, and you can then share those links internally. So if you wanted to have not just the high level that we're going to be talking about today, but also at the end, actual reports. So stay on until the end. We're going to bring them on. Okay.
Perfect. Perfect.
Okay. All right. So this is the first insights that we're going to talk about, is the AI maturity level. I think what surprised me in all the respondents, and I'm very curious to understand where everyone on this call are falling under, but 53% of the revenue leaders we've spoke about have been using AI more actively, only less than 6 months, or within 6 months time range. So although Claude and ChatGPT and have been around, people were a little bit remote with it, right? Like a little bit distant, and they were waiting out until it's better. So they only start kind of testing lately, right?
Right.
But once they started testing, like 80% of them are using AI actively right now, but there are about 20% are still doing. So what category you guys are falling in, Amy? Like, how long you've been?
We've been using this for several years, right?
Right.
But one of the things that I found very interesting was in the very beginning, when ChatGPT first came out, the database that they were using was like 2 years old. So you couldn't get any real-time information. And that gap has since narrowed, and now it's pretty much real time. And so it's absolutely fascinating to me to be able to see the advances that have been made by these frontier models just in the past few months. And so as I've been using this, and now, I do a lot of my own website pages on Claude. Right. I do a lot of my own text, and so one thing that's been super interesting is the LLM models are getting better at anticipating, at analyzing, at strategizing. So essentially, you become an instant manager of an AI agent, and your job is being a judge and an editor rather than, say, a writer when it comes to some of the things in marketing.
Yeah, so I mean, you're fall under the 5% here, right? Like, you've been doing it for a while. I think like a lot. I personally also used it for years. However, as an organization on the maturity level, we fall under like, I think 11%. Like, we've been doing it for like 1-2 years. Where like, yeah. So on the scale from 1 to 5, how would you rate your Amy's organization on the AI maturity level today? I think Belkins are at Yeah, I think we're like at 3 at this point because AI is not used across the entire organization. I think like there's a lot of people in my team that are still being more conservative about AI, maybe using it on or 2 tasks, but it's not their like go-to tool all the day, right? What about Fullcast and maybe the companies you work with?
Great question. So Fullcast itself, because we are an AI native platform, we all use it. However, we have a lot of clients at various stages of maturity, and I think that one of the things that is really exciting that we're seeing are the opportunities to sync together previously disparate platforms that are maybe have been in like industry laggards when it comes to cloud infrastructure. But now with the advent of AI, there's an opportunity to spring ahead. And so some of the projects we're doing are AI related to help these companies who have been laggards in the past really forge ahead and be able to pull together some of their even on-prem and more like older SaaS platforms and integrate them in ways with AI that we haven't been able to do before. So I would say that since that is our business, we're definitely on that level 5. But that most of the companies that we work for and work with in startups, I would say, are 3 and 4, and in enterprises, I would say, are mostly 1 and 2.
Guys who are watching us live, same question to you. What's your maturity level from 1 to 5? Can you pick one, and then if you can explain why, it would be great. Yeah, we can move on, but would love to learn, about what's your maturity level, so we can have a more accurate data. Yeah. This is an interesting slide. Obviously, it's all about outreach and acquisition here, but I'm gonna bring it a little bit closer. Sorry. Yeah, basically, what you see here on the screen are how folks are executing different types of work and whether they're fully automated, assisted with AI, human only, or not applicable, right? And in my line of work, obviously, people are trying a lot to fully automate. However, if you see here, there are some categories that very very difficult to automate, and they are mainly human to human interactions. Amy, did you receive any cold calls that were done by AI or?
I've been pitched to do some. Well, yes, I have been pitched by autonomous agents cold calling me, and I find it very off-putting. That's my own personal opinion.
Okay.
However, I do think that there is an avenue for completely autonomous, like a flow. But from my perspective, the difference between successful and non-successful is how authentic it is. If there are companies that are posing as humans when they're sending out bots, in my opinion, that's not authentic, and that is going to be off-putting to prospects. Whereas if you're using, say, a chatbot that will try to take you from deal all the way through close, and it's very clear that it's an autonomous agent, not a human, there are people that would prefer to do that, I think. So from my perspective, I think both avenues are available to people. There will be different personalities that choose different avenues. But for me, I prefer the human interaction when it comes to really diving into the information and understanding whether I should buy something. What about you, Michael? What are you finding?
So one of the companies I'm advising is I'm sitting on their board. They let go their entire BDR team, and they completely relied on AI, fully AI outreach. And I think like they're selling to kind of small businesses with a very low ACV and very transactional sales, very high volume. And I think like the team that they had were doing a very generic work, kind of a coordination type of things where you can really learn the cloud, right? Most of the customers that I work with, they have complicated offerings, buying committees that consist of like 10, 20 decision makers, larger deals, very like multi-touch approach, and there's no way this journey can be automated with AI. So we might fall in the category where we are like AI assisted at this point. Obviously, we're trying to use it for for strategy development, the research, the list building, the enrichment, helping with some writing and personalization. But I would say that we predominantly are human, just because you need to you need to orchestrate that and at a
Mhm.
very deep level for this to work, right? It's very complicated. But I think like there are some industries that this definitely works for. I spoke with some guys that are doing like cloud employees, they call it, right? They like an
Mhm.
agents, and they do it. They're great at the restaurant where like you can book a table at 4 a.m. in the morning and talk.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Like where
Yeah.
something where, yeah,
Yeah, I love that. And I do agree. Like when it's a transactional sale and it's low ACV, like you're saying, it makes sense to just, as long as it works, as long as you don't have any trouble with the tech, it works great. Those complicated deal cycles require a human, and it's just preferred. So,
yeah, yeah. I mean, here we see some data about how AI is start to adopt to influencing strategy, right? But obviously, adoption is not is uneven. Like for example, defining and refining ICP, 49%. I think that this is something that not I mean majority of companies are not doing yet, right? But I think
mhm,
it's one of the like the biggest hidden values,
mhm,
right? Like now, like I remember like even like several years ago when I worked with a client and I need to build an ICP, I had to just map out like the firmographic stuff, and now I can go so deeper on the sub industry level and just go deeper on the personalization. So for me now, it's only lazy people don't have like personalized pages for every buyer on their website, and the personalized copy, and then like so you speak their language.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. For us, some of our products, our AI products, are related to real time AI sales coaching, detecting buying intent signals, mapping buying committees, and defining and refining ICP. So, Fullcast itself does four of those as an AI product. And we use in house uh, almost all of these. And so I think that the opportunity is definitely there. Now, for me, there's a fine line between automation and AI,
Mm.
um, because some of these, defining and refining your ICP and optimizing outreach sequences, we've been doing those things through automation for quite a while, right, Michael? I mean, you're the expert on it. So how would you define the difference between using AI for this and using automation tools?
So when it comes to automation, we usually were using the predefined pool of variables, right? We automated the variable like first name and the company name and the industry and maybe like the job offering posting. So we were
Mhm.
sourcing and automating the different variables that were pre-built in list. With
Mhm.
AI, it's more contextual personalization. So what we can do, we can have a port profile of a client and know like our AI agent would know their case studies and their offering and their sales calls and why they're different from competitors, like know all of that. And
Yeah.
then you're able to take that knowledge and then go and build a list of companies that would be the perfect fit, right? And each company website will be studied by AI and match it with what client is doing. So now we know, oh, is this a great match or poor match? And then we can use that as a personalization token when we do an outreach and say, hey, like this is why this is relevant for your business, and
Mhm.
personalize for each and individual company, right? So that's I think where like the AI personalization is. Whereas like before with the automation, we could just match some metrics or some variables that are a like a raw data point, if you know what I mean.
Mhm. Yeah, yeah, that makes sense. That's a really good way to explain that. Okay, so this AI adoption, how it looks across go to market, um, this is based on, and Aslam, I really am enjoying reading your chats through here. Thank you so much. For anyone who is um, in the audience and listening, would love to have these interactive chats going as well so we can adapt our script. But this one was a really nice matrix question that we had for mostly senior RevOps leaders. There were also some sales leaders and marketing leaders, but this came mostly from like enterprise level revenue operations leaders and how they were evaluating it. So 12% still strongly prefer to buy when it comes to tools. 26% slightly prefer to buy, and 51% say it just depends on the use case. So what we're seeing here with the revenue operations team is that they're flexible. They just want the best outcome, very outcome driven. 9% slightly prefer to build. Again, they just want the best for everyone. And 2% strongly prefer to build. These guys are the ones who, generally speaking, have a lot of coding experience, and that kind of engineering work doesn't make them nervous. So as you can see, we're all looking for the best fit. What we have found is that across the board, many people are saying, buy the infrastructure, build the intelligence. I think that is something that is a really good aphorism for what we're experiencing right now.
Yeah.
When you build, you have all kinds of governance concerns, maintaining your product, duplication of products, shadow IT. But when we allow people within the organizations to build the intelligence based on a predefined infrastructure, then it's something that I think could be really, really good for the organization. So Cynthia, yes, this is recorded and can be watched afterwards as well. Michael, what are you seeing in terms of how AI adoption is looking across GTM RevOps?
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. I think like the larger the organization is, then obviously they're, I would say that everyone now are looking into case by case in a way, right? Like no one wants to buy more software, right?
Mhm.
And they wanted to consolidate the software. And I think like to your point, everyone thinking about like how to build the infrastructure, how to build an engine rather than solve case by case some things, right? Like, and that's what we've been doing at Belkins. We now when it comes to buying a new software, we're like, how would that be part of our ecosystem, right? How would that be consolidated? Do they have an MSP? Like, can we build the same thing? Like, and so on and so forth. So even like 1 year, 2 years ago, maybe you can pitch me a new product. And I was like, yes, that could be perfectly good. And now I am, but so for example, like from my side, like we've probably gonna reduce our tool set by 50% until the end of the year, because we've moved a lot of those things in-house, right? And kind of start building that. But we do that, as you said, like on an infrastructure level in a way, right? So
yeah. Yep, that's exactly how I feel.
yeah.
Okay, great.
Interesting insights that we've got from our study is the fact that a lot of the SDR team and a lot of acquisition is focused on on increasing the volume, because they feel like the automation and AI can give the volume. Like, hey, we don't need to spend as much time on sourcing leads or getting all those conversations out and just right. So, the 66% have improved the volume. So it's like, hey, we get the bigger volume. But when it comes to improving the outcomes, right, it's still not there. So this is interesting stat is like when you ask people, hey, you increased the volume, but did it increase the deal close rate, or did it increase the lead to opportunity rate? People say that the 23% decreased, and no, the 23% no change, and then 34% is like slightly improvement. But comparing to the investments, it kind of not there yet. So I think like what we're looking at is we all are trying to do a lot of the things, but and I think we're gonna talk about it a bit later. But at the end of the day, when it comes to ROI, or it comes to the outcomes, or it comes to like measuring those things, not many of us are still there, right?
Yeah, I think this is one of my favorite charts here, because we have, and I'm sure you in the field that you're in have heard this ad nauseum, like, get rid of your SDR team. Who needs them?
Right.
And as a marketing person, I need you. I
Yeah.
need you because I don't trust the AI coming in that they're going to handle my leads correctly.
Yeah.
And so it's very interesting to see that, that SDR daily outreach volume has maybe slightly improved. But it's interesting to see that the volume, a little, 10 to 15% here, people are seeing noticeable improvements.
Yeah.
So I think that, it's showing a good trend in the right direction, but we've got to be able to understand what works and what doesn't.
Yeah, and this is interesting number is just to reconfirm exactly what you and I have been saying. So 77% of respondents can confirm whether the investment is working, right?
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
because 44% haven't measured the ROI yet, because it's sometimes very difficult to measure. It's still an innovation, like it's something new. We haven't, it's one thing to start using it or have it or pay for it, and one thing is to actually have it working across the board.
Mhm.
And then 32% say that it's too early to tell, right? Because again, they've been
Mhm.
only doing this for like 6 months. It just needs more time. So
Yeah,
uh,
I think so too. And right now, in order to try to get people to use it to hopefully get a good ROI, a lot of founders are saying, just go ahead and use the tokens.
mm,
Get your hands dirty, get creative. And now that they have way overspent on all of these models, they're pulling back, going, wait, no, you can't use $14,000 in tokens over a
on
weekend.
cloud, yeah.
No. And so I think that it is something that we're going
Yeah.
to see more and more and more of.
Yeah, it's like when we build our own home infrastructure, we don't necessarily need to use the best model of like Cloud
Mhm.
Fable or Cloud Opus for the certain tasks. You can go with like Google Flash, or you can go with like Voyager 3.5 and go right, because the way your playbook works, it could have 20 different models, and they all are
Mhm.
orchestrated and talking to each other, and each one of them are working, and then you're optimizing your token spend. Whereas like I know of a lot of organizations who raised capital, they just buy a cloud and they spend like $20,000-$30,000 and then build your AI as their team on the cloud, right?
Absolutely right. Yeah. Well, and Claude is 17 times more expensive than some of the offshore models in other countries. And as these continue to develop, the price of these will come down, but also our judgment is going to become a lot better in which models we can use. So as we've been building our AI native platform for revenue intelligence, one thing that we found was that, like we built the Cadillac, we built the Ferrari of revenue intelligence. And then we started experimenting because the cost was much too high to operate. And so then we started experimenting with the models that could give us the same quality at a lower price. And I think you're going to see a lot of that happening, a lot of model shifting. And then so we came down in terms of price of like the models that could still perform the same task.
Yeah.
And then also strategically, the ones that could produce the outcome in a single step instead of multi-step. And
Yeah.
so as we see that, we're going to start seeing a lot more people come
Yeah.
in and say, like, what is the actual ROI on this?
I think maybe 3 months ago, I underappreciated like how complex sometimes the products that are like AI powered, like your revenue orchestration platform is, because I felt like, oh, you have this advanced model of like Claude, and then it can do everything. You can just prompt it and it's gonna do it everything. But now, like the last couple of months, I've been building my own product, trying to put my content marketing onto autopilot,
Mhm.
right? And work with my SEO and link building and editors, and just try to build the workflows and the kind of the other things. And I kind of realized that it's almost impossible to build a product without, or that type of product with just the AI agent that you pay for tokens for, without a
Mhm.
deeper knowledge of all the intricacies of all the details of actual kind of the process and the flow.
Mhm.
And so I imagine how much work you guys put into building the engine that
Mhm.
it's just almost impossible to replicate with just by spending a $10,000 on Claude, right?
Yes, absolutely. I totally agree. One of our chats, Aslam has said that in his low TAM, high ACV situation, lacked prospect data in databases, his system generated a 70x result in lead sourcing and 40x result in qualified leads. That's a fantastic outcome, Aslam. I would love to chat with you later on your system. So it's very exciting to see that some people who are go-to-market engineers are doing a great job with that. All right, this next one is how AI is disrupting software procurement cycles. For any of us in technology, this is very important. So regardless of the company size, over 50% of companies have either occasionally or frequently postponed software purchases to test build with AI. I think this is just a reality for now. I don't think that we're ever going to go back to the point where people said, you can do that software? Good. I think we're going to have the CFOs and the CROs from now on say, how hard is it to build this? Which is why that buy the infrastructure, build the intelligence is such a good mantra, because but the cost of building something inside your own company, when it comes to like governance, and it comes to maintaining the product, and it comes to not duplicating efforts, that cost is going to be astronomical within any size organization for a platform play. However, for point solutions, rip point solutions unless they're really, really, really good, because a lot of people are going to be able to build those in-house.
Yeah. All right. This is interesting data. What are we looking at, Amy, here?
Okay, so this is so interesting. To me, this is one of our money slides here, because there are many, many, many people who are trying to build forecasting, support operations in-house, CSM, lead routing, even commissions, which surprises me. Now, this is not whether they're going to be successful building them in-house. This is just whether they've been trying it. But nobody's really attacking the CRMs. The system of records are the ones that they realize they got to stay secure. They got to stay compliant. We're not going to totally mess with the CRMs. There are a few who are doing about 10%. But, for the most part, the systems that are tied the most to money and are, again, on that platform are the ones that are probably going to stay long-term within an organization's tech stack. What's your thought on that, Michael?
Yeah, I mean, we definitely are all fall in the category of for forecasting, building in-house for sure. Our both finance and the sales teams cooperating into like building that money intelligence and keeping that in-house. I agree with the CRM. I think like people are don't realize how much work can be put in on building something simple as a CRM, right? So we don't want to touch that, but obviously the security of the data is huge, right? So yeah, interesting.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I think for us, this one is a very interesting one. Okay, tell me more about the data and process challenges that you've been able to assess from your survey respondents.
Yeah, I mean, 40% of 37% of people say that the challenges are AI output quality, right? So we're still getting there. Anything is obviously from model to model, but I even this morning I spoke to my co-founder and I joked about the fact that every time there's a new model, or like you go to Opus 5 or something, it's like you need to change your entire approach working with that model, right? And right now, my co-founder said that Opus 5 doesn't allow you to do something, so he asked to do it, and then it like, no, I'm not gonna do it. And he's like,
sorry, dude, that's not a good idea.
It's not gonna happen. And he's like, that's it? That's what I get? Like, is there's no like, let's go here or there? Just nope, I'm not gonna do it. That's it.
Well, that is really great. I'm going to train my model to do that too. Instead of giving me crap, just be like, if it can't be done, just tell me.
Yesterday I joked, it was like 12 a.m. I was always going to bed, and I was like finishing, working with my Claude or something, and it sent me, and it was like not working very well, right? Although I'm using the Fable model, and it sent me this mistake of like, I have to lead with a mistake I made. I've wiped your dev database.
Oh no!
And I'm like, I'm sorry, I made a mistake. I wiped out your database. Obviously, it's a testing MVP product, so it was, whatever, like $20 mistake.
Yeah, but what if it hadn't been? My goodness, that would have
But
been
imagine me spending million of dollars and giving this access, and that's what gonna happen, right? So yeah.
Yep.
I think like a lot of people we responded to talk about the poor data quality, and I think this is so important, right? Because as you know, like everything depends on the input you're giving to that, right? So if, let's say, I wanted to optimize my content, so for the last 3 months, my team have been spending time on building the Belkins source of truth, right? So from our buyers and value proposition and our PR, like everything just going document by document, which is now probably like a 3,000 pages library, right? But everything up to date, everything refined, everything structured, because that's the brain, or like that's the taste that we're gonna use to feed into the AI. And with the poor data quality, like if you have if you have very bad data practices in your company, you're not updating it, you're not keeping it, even like on the CRM side, like enrichment part, or like something people are not doing it, they're not refining anything. If you're plugging that average quality list or any quality of materials into AI, probably your output would also be average quality, right?
You're absolutely right. Garbage in, garbage out, as they say.
So do you have like, obviously you guys are on the front run of AI, but from someone that is more mature and been doing this, and this is part of your guys' business, like what is the AI challenge your team has that is mostly real, like that you guys experience?
It's a great question. I think that when you think about AI can really support thought, thought leadership. It can support strategy. It can be a great assistant, but it can never really replicate, or it cannot replicate original thought. It cannot, lead an organization at this point when it comes to strategic thinking. So for us, these all of our research, all of our AI strategy is human led. We put as much as we possibly can on AI for execution, but our biggest challenge is cost, because we leverage AI so highly, and understanding which models will give us the output that we need for the lowest cost, I would say, is our biggest AI challenge right now. So,
all right, so moving on, obviously I put in the chat that, guys, if you can share what's your AI challenge to complement what Amy and I were saying, go ahead and just put it in the chat. We can even discuss it a little bit later. So who is owning AI in organizations? This is interesting, right? Like, because like probably like every team is trying to figure this out on their own, but there should be centralized governance within the organization of like, how are we deploying this, or how we're using this, and right, how we're using it
absolutely. Well, keep in mind also, Michael, that this was answered by a vast majority of revenue operations leaders. So I find it fascinating that they say that they are mostly in charge of the rep productivity, the data enrichment, and the go-to-market systems. I'd be very interested to find out, if we asked all the CROs whether the RevOps team was in charge of rep productivity, whether they would say the same thing. It might be, I don't know. But just know that there may be a little bit of self-report bias here in this one. But, these about 80 senior revenue operations leaders answered this particular question, saying that 90% of them were in charge of the RevOps product, or the rep productivity, and 8% data enrichment, 73% go-to-market systems. When it comes to AI agents, it's very unclear who owns AI agents. You can see that RevOps, IT, product, and other departments all are the function within the organization that, quote unquote, own the AI. So the AI agents. And so what we're seeing is a lot more distributed environment. We're seeing a lot of CTOs trying to wrangle this, because they're seeing a ton of shadow AI being built at a high cost. So I think as we get further into our AI agent journey, we're going to see one department start normalizing that AI agentic work. So, we're seeing some really interesting comments in the chat. Quality is far and away the issue. Making the agents efficient. Strategy, Cynthia says, strategy is human-led. The input is always something we need to develop together with our clients. The more strategic thinking a project requires, the more important human expertise becomes. Fully agree with that, 100%. Okay. This one was a very interesting question here. The fluency gap on AI is very, very different between engineering, where every single person has to be at least moderately fluent.
Yeah.
Versus sales reps who would say that only about 4% of them would be expert. Again, this is a self-report bias of mostly RevOps leaders answering this. But the perspective, I think, is probably real. The sales reps were hired because they're great people, right? Yeah. And so whereas engineers are a lot more into the tech and the data and are oftentimes the ones who are creating the AI agents. So it's not, this one's not really a surprise, but if we do want to have AI agents go throughout the entire company and have everyone be fluent, this is to your question earlier, going by department's probably helpful.
What's interesting that in my organization, our engineering team, although they obviously are fluent with AI, the way they're using it is a little different than, me and my partner and the other, leadership are using that. We rely more on AI to deliver the output, and the engineering, they putting a gas on each and every output they give and check everything. So the way they're using AI is slower than me personally, where I can start kind of building the product and adding integration and the data and just moving, because you put the auto mode and just proof, okay, no problem, and 100%. What the engineering are doing, they're like, all right, why this or that, and they're just moving and rolling it out very slowly. And I think like from in my organization, engineering we're one of the last ones to adopt AI, where like they are like, okay, now I don't write a code, for example, right?
So, yeah, that's right.
Interesting.
That is interesting.
So
now this one is totally expected. Go to market, product, lean into AI for trust. Finance holds back. They're like, I don't trust AI agents to manage the money, because if they allow an AI agent to send $100 million check to one of their clients, that is a company killer, as they say. So it doesn't come to any surprise that those that are more finance minded are going to be more human led. Any other comments on this one, Michael?
No, I think you're right. I'm just thinking where I'm falling into this category. Like, definitely, I think finance in my team have been using AI more for data representation and just the dashboards and reporting, right? Make it the nice and dynamic and shining, so we're not looking at the Excels anymore or the or the presentation. Now you can have your own dashboard they send every month, and then you can play around and see all the things. So I think they're using that definitely, but they are double checking all the inputs of the data. So for them, it's very important to make sure that they understand all the small nuances of the data, and then just send it to a more, like nice shiny reporting. I think like on the customer side, I think like what I've heard from my team, even the vendors we work with, if they rely more heavily on AI, the customer experience goes down. Like we've have many vendors right now that have AI chat and AI support and start importing AI on the Slack, and then you cannot get hold of people because all it's AI, and just really like the relationship level is not there yet. And although people say like, hey, it's gonna be easier because like you can get in touch with someone faster, we've seen that probably because it's still new, it decreases the NPS rather than increases it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it does. I totally agree. And that was the one thing I was going to say as well, is that those customer facing roles are just the absolute, thing that we have to be the most careful of. just as much as the money. We have to be the most careful with our customer relationships. And so leaving that to an automated robot that could go haywire or not respond or make the customer feel like they're not important, that's really fundamentally what it is. You try to AI something away, the customer oftentimes will feel like, oh, you don't care enough to even like communicate with me or work with me directly. I think that that's the biggest danger there.
I think we you and I were in GDM and in marketing. I think with this, the trust, the full trust, I think in the next 2 years, we're going to see this trust to be like 50%. I think like the modern GDM team, we cannot even imagine us working without AI, right? Am I right? It's like,
yeah, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. And I think you're a lot younger than I am, but we still grew up in this like human-led GTM. So it'll be interesting to see as generations come, those who are just very familiar with an ecosystem where humans and superhumans coexist to do work is a reality. And I think it's coming at us fast.
yeah, I think like where the trust can come from is that we won't be able to build an effective playbook without part of that playbook to be AI. For example, even with AI search to be one of them, right? Like I cannot imagine if, let's say, you don't have enough digital footprints in your business, that you're going to have a great, AI as a lead source. Like people find you on ChatGPT or Gemini and just, what are the best providers or what is the best product or what's the best sources? You need to do that. But would you try to optimize your, AI search game manually, or you would use AI for that as well? Probably going to fall into the AI category, 100%.
Absolutely right, 100%.
Right? So you need to do that. The same goes with the optimization, personalization part of it. Like, hey, if you want to do a deeper research on your customers, you're probably going to use a lot of AI to do that, right? And ICP refinement, and then how you map that out to your content strategy, you're going to use that as well. So I think like we already start seeing that all of us, I mean, marketers, we're using this. However, maybe we're lacking the trust because we haven't built the foundation yet for it, right? Because the data quality, the data output, the different nuances of our understanding of how to build it in the correct way. I think that's the case. So that's why the trust is moderate. But I think we're gonna see, like moderate for like 40% and like now, and then in the next like very quick period of time, just could go into full trust very quickly, right?
Yeah, I think so too. I think you're absolutely right.
All right. Now, when it comes to AI, this is an interesting stat. Is like, although we talk about 80% of people start using it, so a big maturity level. When it comes to satisfaction score, the average between the respondents we have is 3.3 out of 5. So it's on the low end, and then when it comes to and then 45% are still kind of neutral in terms of there. So I think like when it comes to either the people that start using it or mature level, like the satisfaction score is not 5 out of 5 right now. So where would you guys fall into this category?
I would say that we're pretty bullish on AI, and we've seen some really good results so far. We have seen a lot of ROI, so I would say that I'm definitely in the like 4 to 5 range for sure.
I think one of the reasons why I am in that more like 3 ballpark is we've seen a lot of, I would call it like not manual work, but a lot of work that needs to be done into organizing AI, so maybe it can increase the output, but it's take days of work for people to kind of organizing it in a way. So maybe because you need to change your processes or adjust your organization or change the things, how you do things, it just takes time. And because of that, you don't have the same kind of ROI that you would have if you use that thing at full force. I think maybe you guys just kind of are using it in a more, bigger pace than what we've seen and what we are using. So
yeah. But I think that was a really, really good question. This one I find very interesting. We can just touch on it very quickly, but even though everyone knows that it's important and we're all kind of getting our feet wet, Less than 20% of organizations have a formal process for whether to build something or whether to buy something. And I think we're going to just see this increase like massively. A lot of people have informal processes that I think they're going to solidify over the next year and have it become a formal process.
Yeah, I agree. All right. I think the couple of last slides that are super interesting. I know we have 10 minutes, maybe 5. When it comes to AI for JDM, right? Like I think these are the 5 things that I believe, and I know I checked in with Amy before this, that I think you also agree that these are the very important part that you need to have to, and this is where we are working on right now, right? Like, so we've spoke about the data foundation a lot today. Is like, for me, it's now this thing I'm focusing on, probably like working on the data foundation right now. Any data in the company and data normalization is probably 50% of the entire effort we have on AI. So we less are spending tokens and more working on normalizing the data, then we can spend the tokens, right?
And I think that this is really fascinating because we've always really struggled with clean data in GTM. And from my perspective, one of the main reasons for that is because we're all trying to scrape data from sources where we don't know if it's true or not, right? So if we relied on a purely inbound motion where people gave us like their own contact data and we could count on it 100% of the time as being legitimate, your data is going to stay cleaner, right? But right now, when a lot of people are using outbound data farms, they're trying to scrape from tools. We're trying to, people's email addresses are getting super outdated, super fast.
Yeah.
That data challenge is going to be so hard. Michael, I'm preaching to the choir. You know this better literally than anyone. But I really question whether that data foundation is going to be able to get super clean without the use of AI, because we're going to have to speed that data foundation up. That's been our main challenge with CRM and cloud up until now, is the quality of data.
100%. Yeah, we would need to do that. Yeah. But then I think like the 2 important things here is like, who will own this, right, across the entire organization, right? As well as who will own the agents. I really love the stats. Going back to the stats, like we don't know, on the agentic side who owns it, or on the entire like organization side who owns it as well. And then what is the governance process in the company and how we do it, right? I think even in my company, it would say like, Michael, what's your governance process? I would say probably my co-founder Vlad and the Slack channel where people just send everything there, right? But the formal process, it just doesn't exist, right? So, and then how we're going to develop it, who will going to develop it, how it's going to work. But I think it's even an interesting, there could be an industry, right? Like we're going to see a new category, right? Like governance category, 100%.
Absolutely right. I totally agree with that. I think that this is a really great slide that shows what needs to happen in order for GTM to be AI ready. Completely agree with that.
Yeah. All right. And I think this is like the final message that we adhere to on a daily basis with Amy, and I think this is also a fascinating slide for me, right? Like, and that's how I'm stopping myself all the time. Is like, hey, stop scaling activity, right? Stop spending that tokens, stop buying all those tools, like rather like focusing on what kind of impact I'm expecting, right?
I think that makes a lot of sense. In our benchmarks report that we pulled together for 2026, we had a special focus on AI. We measured $78 billion of operational pipeline data. And what we found was the companies who were using AI for volume had revenue that went down per seller. The revenue per seller went down.
Yeah.
Now, those who were using AI for quality and for assistance and for impact, just like you're saying here, their revenue per seller went significantly up. So, from my perspective, that number one is the key to an effective GTM. How you use the AI.
Yeah. I think because Belkins, as the company, we're heavily relying on our playbook that worked for years. We were like, this is a playbook, it really works. And I didn't push my team hard enough to redevelop the playbook. So we focused on like on the management level, like exploring AI more into, on the product side and building products and pushing different additional revenue streams. But when it comes to our core playbook, we've played it on the safer side, let's say, right? So, and what we've noticed, and just to support your point, that our impact per rep or the KPI per rep went down as well because we didn't employ it. And as soon as we start developing more practices, including AI to help reps to do more, we start looking at there is an increase per rep delivery, right? And that's exactly
Very
to say, and we've seen that on the SDR side as well. So
Mm-hmm.
unfortunately, we've kind of missed our bus a little bit there for sure. I think we spent a year, being on the bench. But we're now trying to cut it at half and just trying to double down on it more because we realize that if our effectiveness per rep will be dropping every year, then we're done as the organization, right? So
yeah, that's exactly how we are too. You've got to you've
Yeah.
got to do it right,
All right. So we're going to put on the screen for those folks who wants to read more the insights. I think we covered only, 10% of the insights we've got during
there's so much more there, Michael. I know. I have been just absolutely loving all of this data and getting into what you found. I've learned so much from you. You are just, the top of your game when it comes to the go-to-market lead gen business, and it's just really a privilege to be able to learn from you. And in general in the ecosystem, and also for this webinar.
Thank you so much, Amy. Thank you. The secret playbook that I think I'm happy to share for the folks that are, again, stayed on for and listened to us and engaged in the chat as well. Appreciate you guys for that. Is one of the reasons why Amy and I were doing this benchmark reports and these studies, right? One of the big reasons is that the future of traffic or lead generation is to position you in a certain category and try to collect unique data points and unique perspective and unique things in that specific category and regularly post it and feature it and give it away. Because as a result of that effort, all the LLMs and all the AIs and all the other, they will be training and learning from this data. So they will be referencing and featuring you. So you're going to get organic links, organic mentions, the PR mentions, you're going to have AI traffic, you're going to have citations, you're going to see people looking for some insights and on ChatGPT, and then they will be like, oh, there's the ratio will be 25% according to RevOps study by Fullcast, and then they can explore the Fullcast. So I think like for us, this is one of the major acquisition strategies for the year, is to be able to organize multiple this kind of unique and insightful data study around our clients and unique data points we're collecting as the company with our product and with our partners like Fullcast and other, and regularly do that, because that's where we've seen around the years is the hidden gem of the 2026 kind of strategy. So if you guys are not doing this yet, if you are in the category where you have access to unique data points of your clients, if you have access to a great community, if you can generate a unique and authentic and really interesting insights, and you are not doing that yet, start doing that. Start posting it without paywall, just posting it, and you're gonna see, by doing that several times per year, those insights will be picked up like that, and you're going to see your organic traffic growing. That's like how we grew our organic traffic, to be honest with you, even with like several reports. And I know, Amy, you guys are doing the same, because exactly the reason, right?
We are, and it's been really exciting to see. It's one thing that AI has done is it's really exposed people who are experts in the industry and those who are not, and so that authenticity is really coming out. And again, like I mentioned, Michael, it's really a privilege to be working with you and learning from you and all the insights that you've got. So great job, and thank you for leading this industry.
Thank you so much, Amy, for doing this with us. Guys, hope you enjoyed our talk and you found some insights useful for you guys. So for those who didn't scan the QRs, if you're registered or if you engage in the chat, we're gonna find you and we're gonna send you the reports, and then you can read it. Because like, if you don't want to learn, we're gonna encourage you to learn even more, right? So
that's right.
Yeah,
we'll find you.
You will find it, and we're gonna make you read that report.
That's right.
All right, awesome. Thank you, everyone. Like, if we don't have any more questions in the chat, it's been a pleasure hosting this, guys, for you. And Amy, thank you so much for a great partnership and for doing this with us as well. Like, you run a fantastic company. It's always a pleasure doing things with you. And if you guys haven't seen my podcast with Amy, go to YouTube, Belkins Podcast, and check out. It was like an hour and a half conversation with Amy, and you've been amazing, Amy. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Michael. Appreciate it.
All right, guys. Have a great rest of your day, everyone. Enjoy your week. All right. Thanks, Amy.